It's Rob Rush, and I am hanging out on this day with somebody that you know all too well. You might not know his face. Well, you might because you've seen him in the movies, but you definitely know his voices. And you know the guy. I don't know who the guy walking behind him is, but I'm talking to Hank Azaria over here.
That's Nay, one of our best doormen, if not
Hey,
the
Nay,
best
how you
doorman.
doing?
That's
Hi,
Rob.
how you doing, Rob?
Good, Nay. Nice to see you.
Not that
But
it's a
yeah, Hank
competition.
Azaria is here. So Hank, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Rob? Thanks for having me. That's my wife.
Oh, that's the wife.
I'm just going to
Right.
keep throwing different people
Three-
into this and delaying the interview as long as
Maybe
possible.
Vinny Lopez will come back. Who knows? You'll have Mad Dog Vinny
Mad
Lopez.
Dog. I met him at the Stone Pony last year.
Yeah, I met him a few years ago when Nick's Clarence's son Nick used to do a thing for his dad's birthday, and every year, and they had me and another DJ that I'm friends with that's on the station come down and host the Clarence Clemens birthday bash at Martel's Tiki Bar in Point Pleasant, I think it is. And I met Vinny there. He was there. John Cafferty was there with the late
Wow.
Michael Toons, who just passed away. And a couple of like Tinker West, like the people that were really like inclusive in Bruce's early life was there. So that was kind of cool. And that's what you're doing at Sony Hall. You're doing your tribute to Bruce Springsteen, Hank Azaria, and the Easy Street Band, January 11th. And let's talk about that and other things. I'm a huge Bruce fan. You're a huge Bruce fan. And I know this was born out of your 60th birthday doing this whole Bruce Springsteen thing.
It was born to run out of my 60th birthday. And yeah, I turned 60 a couple of years ago. Well, almost 2 years ago. And I'm not a party guy, and but it felt sad and depressing to ignore it. And I just got this ridiculous idea that had been rumbling around my brain for really a couple of years of, learning to mimic Bruce. I've been imitating the way Bruce talks since I'm a teenager
Yeah.
because I love the talks from the live albums and the bootlegs. Um, But I thought, let me invite like everybody I know instead of doing like, I'm only going to do three people, which is what I usually do for my birthday.
Hmm.
Everyone, I'm going to create reunions, like a college reunion and high school and camp and Broadway.
Yeah.
And so that way I don't really have to host. They can all have each other. And I've created now 550 person audience at City Winery. And most of these folks, if they're my close friends, are Bruce fans, not
Yeah.
because I insist on it, but because that's just the way natural selection went. And told everyone I had this great Springsteen tribute band coming, made the theme of the party rock and roll. Everybody had dress as their favorite
Rocker.
rocker.
Hmm.
And so that way, when I was dressed, as Bruce, I didn't look like I was in. I mean, I kind of was in costume, but I didn't.
But
I didn't stand out.
was it just the black shirt Bruce, or were you doing the white shirt and the jeans Bruce?
I just did. I think I really just I got this great leather motorcycle jacket and black jeans. I didn't particularly go bananas.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
kind of fit in with the classic rock look. And some people like really went all out. Like they were dressed like somebody was that Bowie album cover where he had the half his face was
Ziggy
red.
Stardust or something like that. Was that?
No, it wasn't. It was. It might have been actually
It looked
Ziggy.
like a thunderbolt, right? Going across
Exactly.
the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And so it was really fun. And then I went to introduce the band and just stayed up on stage and we did like a dozen songs and it went really well. So and it brought me so much joy. And I started to really learn how to sing in earnest, which I've been literally procrastinating my whole career. And now I can sing, but only like Bruce.
Well, do you, we go back to when we were first doing the interview just a couple minutes ago, and you said you love his speeches. And if you're a hardcore Bruce fan, that is what you're, waiting for. You're waiting for some of his speeches. So do you also do the speeches like, or do you copy some of his speeches? Like, I know some people love the Backstreets speech where he talks about, how you left me and you were gone. Or even like, if you're singing Sandy, the 4th of July Asbury Park song. There's one part, sometimes I don't think he does it much anymore, but he would always say, the angels have lost their desire for us in some of the live concerts. And then he would go back to the way it was in the song, which is the waitress I was seeing lost her desire for me. Do you do anything like that? Have fun with that?
Yes, I mean, this is where it turned into weird performance art. For one of my favorite growing ups has the story. First of all, I love is the live arrangement of growing up. It's a
Yeah.
little more rocking. And he tells this long story in the middle. I think he was in California way back. I think it was in the 70s.
Was that on this 85, 75, 85 album when he's talking about the goddamn guitar?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. And the
Hmm.
motorcycle accident.
Yeah, yeah.
Never defended guitar, and a Les Paul guitar was always a goddamn
Yeah.
guitar. And so at my birthday, I told a story about how my son was 14 at the time, and I told a story about how different how he's basically the opposite of me, and that's why I admire him. And now actually in concert, I tell in our concerts, I tell the story of the two times I actually met Bruce, one of which
What was that
was
like? Yeah, that's got. Did you
yeah,
fanboy?
yeah, I fanboyed so hard I made an absolute idiot of myself,
Oh, that would
including
do.
around the song growing up because the lyrics growing up were my senior yearbook high school page were the lyrics.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And I like kind of screamed that at Bruce, like a girl would scream for the Beatles in 1964. And so yeah, and I like in front of She's the One, I tell the story of the first night I met my wife. In front of Thunder Road, I tell the story of how my father used to, whenever I was playing that music, he used to yell out, "Turn down that Bruce Springsteen." Um, and but one day he actually stayed in my room. He just got mesmerized by Thunder Road, and he
Yeah.
listened to the whole song with me. Um, so and then I'll tell stories like of how Bruce came up with Dance in the Dark, which is a fun story about he and John Landau kind of having an argument about, Born in the USA needing one more hit,
Yeah.
etc. And in front of Atlanta, we do the electric version of Atlantic City, which I love the version that was off of that MTV Plugged Unplugged concert he did,
Yes, yes. Uh-huh. I have
not with the E Street Band in that brief
the
period of
other
time.
band. Yes, it was the other band.
Yeah, whoever they were.
Yeah, that's what they were
And
called, the other band. Yeah.
the other band.
Yeah.
And so talk about the electrifying. And sometimes I get real technical about
Yeah.
the sort of what do they call it? What do they call it? The provenance of a song.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes what it means to me. Blah blah blah. But yeah, and I played with it, Rob. Like I was like, and some of that came out of I knew that at my birthday. Most of the people would be huge Bruce fans and know these stories, but probably about half the folks wouldn't. And I thought I should tee up the songs a little bit to give them context.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I kind of wrote these little things, um, including how I got the whole idea to do it in the first place. And then I played around with it, and I thought I would just tell it as me and then do the song. And for some reason, including even the story of how I met my wife, it just kind of worked in the Bruce voice, in the Bruce idiom, in his kind of spoken word, sort of poetic rhythm that he has. It
Yeah.
just kind of worked better that way. And that created sort of the show.
I think I'm looking forward to it January 11th at Sony Hall with Hank and the Easy Street Band because you're a huge fan like I am, so you know all of the little nuances. And of course you're going to do the big songs, but what about like deep cuts? Like what's your favorite Bruce deep cut? Like I love, The Promise. I think that's a great one. The one that was None But the Brave. That's a good one too. I
Yeah, we
love
don't,
the one that was
yeah.
on. It was supposed to be on the second album, Thundercrack. There we go.
Oh man, that was one of the I had a early, remember back a year, I'm older than you, I'm sure, but I'm 60, I'll be 62 in
Yeah, I'm
April.
47. Yeah.
So a lot older. So back in the 70s, the only way to get those live recordings was to get vinyl bootlegs and then
Yeah.
eventually cassette bootlegs. And those cassette bootlegs, we would pass them around. They were like literally recorded
Yeah.
at the, I mean, they were really down and dirty. Some of them were higher quality, and then, they got passed around. That Thundercrack one I had off this, man, it was a club he played on Long Island, I think. I remember
Probably
the
my
vinyl.
father's place.
It might have been my father's
Because my
place.
friend Epi owned, I started at WLIR 20 something year, 28 years ago. And they used to have like the old reel to reels. And I would find, and there was one that says Bruce Springsteen, my father's place. And I put it on, and that was it. Like he comes on and it's like, man, radio is a tough business or something like that, or nervous business.
Rail to reel. I know. I never, my parents had reel to reel, and then they had the eight tracks,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I never had anything off of
Well, this
reel
was
to
the
reel.
reel to reel from the station. I was
Right.
at the radio station, so it very well
Right.
could have been the original thing that they used in '73 or whenever he played there.
Yeah, it might have been. I remember the vinyl was red. It was actually red
Oh,
vinyl for
yeah.
that. And I love that's when I first heard that Thunder Crack. And no, we don't get quite as deep cuts as those. We're just putting in Sandy right now, which you at 4th of July Asbury Park, which you just mentioned.
Now you're going to do the Angels have lost their desire for us, or this waitress I was seeing lost her desire for me.
Those are actually they're not spoken word.
That's in the song. Yeah.
Those are all lyrics that he prefers. The three live versions that I have now all do Angels Have Lost Their Desire. I don't even have a live version of Waitress I Was Seeing Lost Her Desire for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it exists
Gotta be
plenty of
somewhere.
places.
Yeah.
But I like that Angels version. I always wonder about that though, like why he wanted to get away from that lyric. Ever heard that alt lyric to Thunder Road? Um, that was a deep, deep cut bootleg I had.
That was from a radio station, WMMR, Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. It was like 1970, right before he blew up, and he did a version of that was the Screen Door Slams, Angelina's Dress Wig.
Angelina,
Yeah.
right?
And it was called Wings for Wheels, that version.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This old Ford Coupe's gonna overheat.
Yes. Get
Make up
something,
your
got
mind,
to get
girl.
it
I got
back
to get it
out
back out on the
on the
street.
street. Yeah.
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 Sometimes I get tempted to bust out those lyrics in concert in our show, but no,
You'd have
that's
to have a real sect of diehard Bruce fans, I think, for that to be there, which
I
could
think
happen.
maybe we played the Stone Pony once. I'm dying to get back there. That might be a
Yeah.
good Stone Pony.
Yeah.
Way to go. But no, we don't get as deep as those songs you just mentioned. In fact, the band's coming over tomorrow night, and we're gonna play like I'm gonna play them 12 or 15 covers that Bruce likes to do. We're gonna pick our first Bruce cover, even though Jersey Girl is technically a Bruce cover,
Yes.
but it feels like a. Did
Feels
you know
like
he
it.
actually wrote the third verse of that?
No.
That's his. That whole that last verse is an add-on by him that was not written by Tom
Tom
Waits.
Waits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Um,
some good covers. I know like for a while he did that a Jay and the Americans song. He did wasn't This Magic Moment. It was I heard the guitar player say come a little bit closer. I think he did a couple of times.
yeah. Yes, I've definitely heard him do that. He does a really good, cool version of Flamingo. They just released that from like 20 years ago, that concert in Hyde Park. I thought that London Calling that he busted out was
Yeah.
incredible.
That was a good version too. He did a string of those. They have him like on Spotify, all the covers. He did Highway to Hell, the AC/DC
Yeah.
song.
Did that in Australia.
Yeah, and then Prince, when Prince passed, he did Purple Rain, which was a great version of that.
Yeah, totally. A lot of people did a lot of great covers of Purple Rain.
What's your favorite cover of a Bruce song? Do you have one? Because
Of
they're
a,
few and far between. There's a lot out there, but the good ones are few and far between.
I don't really. There was a version of Born to Run that was Cowboy Mouth. Was that the name of that
Cowboy Mount,
band?
yep, uh-huh.
I really liked that version of Born to Run.
David Bowie, I think, did he do Growing Up? He did something like that, David
Wow,
Bowie.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he did a version. He did a Bruce song, and I know the Greg Kihn Band did a version of For You.
Did they? I
Yeah.
mean, Man for Man had that really hugely popular Blinded by the Light.
Yeah, and I mean Patti Smith, 10,000 Maniacs with Because the Night. You can say those are, probably the best known version.
Yeah, which I usually prefer Bruce's version, like sort of
Yeah.
on all of the above.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
And sometimes I prefer Bruce's cover of the original. Like what he did with Trapped was unbelievable. I mean, I love that old Jimmy Cliff song, but
Yeah. But
that's
he made that his own.
that's definitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a Jimmy Cliff song when I first heard it. I just thought it was a Bruce song. It was Trapped.
Sounds like a Bruce song. We just did Santa Claus is Coming to Town
Oh
on
yeah.
Kelly and Mark. It'll be out on that show tomorrow.
It was done on Long Island, CW Post.
Who are the bass player in our band? All the guys in our band uh, are Rob are like, they're young. So
Yeah.
I introduced them to most of this music. Only our bass player, Jeff, his dad was a big Bruce fan and raised him on Bruce. And he was at that show at CW Post where he
The
played.
father. Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah,
been
he's got a
like,
couple of great live versions that he did even from the Coliseum when he did that string of dates like around this time in 1980 or 81. He did a whole bunch of songs and I think this Merry Christmas Baby might be from Nassau Coliseum.
yeah, he
Yeah.
he does a great version of that. Apparently, he was at the Stone Pony a few days ago and
Yeah.
did Santa Claus.
I would love to. I always
Him and
tried to get
Stevie.
down there to see him, for the light of day stuff. I just never got the chance to see him intimate. I've seen him 27 times. I don't know about you.
I've seen him 26. That's so funny. You got me
Wow.
notched by one. Speaking of light of day, at Sony Hall, the show you'll be going to, Ricky Byrd is going to sit in with us on a few
Oh,
songs.
Joan Jett.
Yeah, Jones,
Yeah. Hmm.
guitarist. He's going to sit in with us on Thunder Road and Born to Run. And we were going to try to work up Light of Day, but we didn't have quite enough time. But I'm sure we'll circle back to that. That's one of my. I love that song. It's a
Yeah,
great song.
that was a great song too. A great. I didn't see the movie. I just know it from the song. Joan Jett did a
Uh,
good version of it.
you did a good version, and I certainly prefer Bruce's version to Michael J. Fox's version. But no offense to Michael.
None taken. I'm sure he would say the same thing. Yeah, but January 11th, that's where Hank's going to be, the Easy Street Band, and it all goes to charity, right? The proceeds.
Whenever we have net proceeds, which it ain't easy with a band, you got to pay everybody. But yes, net proceeds go to the 4 through 9 Foundation.
And you've done, obviously so many voices on The Simpsons, but I read that you said, I think it's even on your website, you said doing the Bruce impression was the hardest you've ever had to work at doing an impression.
Oh, for sure. Well, not so much the talking voice. I've been working on that since I was 12 in 1976. But
Yeah.
singing, I mean, is a whole different. It's funny, I tricked myself into learning to sing properly because I've had to sing my whole career, but usually, when you sing as Chief Wiggum, nobody cares if you sound that good. There's no business like show business. He sounds like Ethel Merman.
Ethel
And
Merman.
characters have sung, but as long as it's funny and semi in tune, that's all you're shooting at.
Yeah.
I sang on Broadway, but same thing. Like I was in Monty Python's Spamalot. It was just there to be funny, really.
Yeah. It wasn't like a
And
serious singing kind of thing, but this is serious singing. Yeah.
yes, I mean I have new and as a fan, it was a new way to discover Bruce from like an inside out sort of like oh my God, I have not that I didn't already respect his vocals, but I was like, holy shit, that is not
Yeah.
that's really hard. Not that I thought it was easy,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean?
But
It's
some
like
people do. They think that he just sings, Bruce Springsteen, he just sings about girls and cars and he can't sing, but it's not true at all.
he's a genuine, incredible soul singer
Yes.
and in the
I
great
love that
tribute.
album that he did, the covers album that he did, Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore. What a great version of that he did.
Yeah,
It
he
was on
did a
that last
version of
album.
Jackie Wilson. He did which Jackie Wilson song did he do? Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher.
Yeah.
Man, his vocals on that are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I've raised my key, like I've come up like 2 or 3 steps in the last 2 years. And the closer I can get, I'm a little deeper than Bruce. So the closer I can get to his key, the more it sounds like Bruce.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm only doing two things. I'm a mimic. I'm trying to sound as much like Bruce as I can
Mhm.
and make the song sound as good as possible and also sustain my voice because he's actually not always just rasping through songs.
Yeah.
He's singing out, but that rasp gives it's a seasoning, not
Yeah.
not not a flavor, if you will. And so that's hard to sustain without blowing your vocal cords out.
And
And
he does some, especially those, if you're doing more of those intimate kind of, songs, he goes, singing, and then he kind of goes from singing to like a speaking thing where it's like,
that's harder to do than
yeah,
belting
yes,
as
you're talking like
Bruce.
this, and then
Exactly.
yeah,
Like when you get to the end of Jungle Land, beneath the city,
yeah,
two hearts meet, that kind of stuff is
mm,
really quiet. And it's still got that soul rasp and yet it's
Especially
almost
those last three
whispered.
tonight. And then you
Yeah,
have to go, oh, the right to
hard.
sing.
Every line of this, Rob, is like it was like a week or two of work. That's what I mean by
The
some
hardest.
came easy,
Yeah.
some, maybe half. The rest is like shit. If I'm gonna get
Yeah.
that couplet in Backstreets, it's gonna take, you know. And then as I go along, it gets a little easier and easier and easier because you sort of unlock different registers and like,
Sure.
oh, this is the same as, what I did at the end of growing up, or this is the
Yeah.
same as, the opening of Promised Land, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but unlocking and I never paid attention to singing like that my whole career.
Until
So
you did, until you had to with
I
Bruce.
really wanted to. It's
Yeah,
bringing me so much joy. And to sound like the E Street Band is just the most fun possible for me.
it is. I mean, that's why I'm looking so forward to seeing this show. When what if you had to say what character on The Simpsons would be a big Bruce Springsteen fan?
You sort of got to go with Mo. You figure Mo. Uh,
The hero of the downtrodden. Yeah, Mo would
yeah,
definitely
Mo's
be.
working class and works in a bar. I mean, you had Aerosmith in his bar. You figured if he knows Aerosmith, he's got to know Bruce.
He's got no Bruce.
Actually, I figure Homer probably would love Bruce.
Yeah, probably.
Um, and but he's not my character.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I would say you're out of yours. I'd say Mo would probably be the one.
Yeah, right. Stick Mo in there.
Comic book guy would probably think he's trite, I'm thinking.
No, comic book guy, I don't think would go for Bruce. I wonder, comic book guy feels to me more like
He'd be like a
that.
Kings of Leon kind of guy, or like something like, indie rock, where like nobody
Yeah,
knows about them just yet.
grunge era, yes. Perhaps Bare Naked Ladies might be his era. Yeah.
Could be his year. And I wanted to say too, what does Bruce think about you doing this? He knows that you're doing this, obviously, right?
It's funny how he found out. I mean, one of my son's 16 now, and one of his friends from school, his dad is a great oral surgeon, a guy named Jason Deblinger, great guy and really gifted. Like he's amazing
Hmm.
dentist and huge Bruce fan. This guy, he's come to a bunch of our shows, so he had a couple of our videos, a couple of our recordings, just as a friend. And I'm on a plane actually. I get a text from him one day and it's a video, and it's of Jason, of the dentist guy. I'm like, why is Jason sending me a video of himself from his dentist office?
Yeah.
And I play it, and it pans over, and hey, Hank, it's Bruce Springsteen. I got a terrible toothache. But while I'm sitting here with my toothache, I've been fabulously entertained by your version of Prove It All Night, which I gotta say, you do a pretty good job of it. I could tell he was really tickled, and he
Oh,
really
wow.
liked the band. So we kind of got Bruce's blessing through a toothache, which, like, I mean, Rob, honestly, I started to cry looking on the plane.
Yeah.
And I showed the guy sitting next to me. I'm like, look at this, it's Bruce Springsteen.
Wow.
And honestly, it's like up the, I have Emmys and whatnot. I think I treasure that minute video for Bruce more than anything else in my career.
I would agree too. And I mean, he's the kind of guy, he knows imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. He knows that. I like that song. It's not really imitation, it's not, but it's flattery. Springsteen, you ever hear that one by
Oh,
Eric?
sure, yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful,
that's a
beautiful
good
song.
one. And you grew up in Forest Hill, so like besides like Bruce, were you like a Ramones fan? What other music were you into growing up as a kid?
I was a huge punk fan. Yes, they were from. They actually asked my brother-in-law to be in the band. They all were at Forest Hills High School together. My brother-in-law said
Oh,
no.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I'm friends with
Um,
Joey's brother, Mickey, his biological brother, Mickey. Yeah, and
okay.
yeah, they all
Yeah, no,
friends.
I loved that was my era. I was more of a Sex Pistols guy, and then that whole post-punk era.
Yeah,
Elvis Costello and the
Talking
Pretenders.
Heads.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Heads and Blondie and all that music.
yeah,
Squeeze. Um,
they're great.
oh,
Squeeze.
oh my God.
Underrated.
Along, oh my God, they're amazing.
Yeah,
I saw all those bands too back then, but Bruce was always top of my list. Tom Petty was way up there. Elvis Costello. We all loved. the Stones, the Who, and the Beatles, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Um, uh, but I sound like such an old man talking about that era, because what an embarrassment of riches we had
Yeah.
when you're even too young. Um, we'd always a lot of lyrics then will rock and roll will never die,
Mhm.
and I was like, of course it won't. But the fact that that classic rock is now a thing of the past, you know what I mean? In the way that the Great American Songbook is, it's an era of music that
Yeah.
is from the past,
Yeah.
and so I, I tell my son, I'm like, everybody had their own favorite, 5 or 10 bands,
Yeah.
and and every week, right at the record store, there'd be two, three, four, five releases,
Hmm.
and you listen to them. Like I'll never forget, and certain albums, like yeah, I remember when like Damn the Torpedoes came out.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
oh, new Tom Petty, cool. And you
mhm.
sit there listening to it, you're like, oh my God, this album, you know. Um, and certain things you hear, they're classics, and you know right away they're caught
Mhm.
above. But like there, if bands weren't in your top 7 or 10, you'd go like, oh, they're all right. But the list of bands that I considered, oh, they're all right,
Mhm.
like I totally blew off as like Bad Company or Heart or
Yeah.
Foreigner or
Journey.
Styx,
Yeah.
Journey. Journey was even like beneath me, like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not hardcore enough for me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I could see that.
And I'm like, what? It's genius music. Are you kidding?
Do you
We
remember
just
the first time that you, though, like, what was it? What was that connection that got you for Bruce? See, for me, like, my family, my mom's father moved down to Jersey and he lived for a time on 10th Avenue. And then my uncle was renting a house uh, off of 10th Avenue. So I was always surrounded by there. And you always hear about this guy, Bruce Springsteen. And then you hear the song, and for me, it brings me down to that era of when I was going down as a kid, the early 90s to Belmar, because that's where they lived, Wall Township. I've been to the Stone Pony a number of times. That's what got me. What was it about him like that got you? Like talking about all those bands, yeah, you would listen to them, the Ramones and them, but Bruce has always been something for you. And what was it? Do you remember that moment?
I was at camp in 1976. I was 12. And I remember, and it's a beloved place for me, camp. I went there for 10 years when I was 6 to when I was 15. I remember right where I was sitting. I was sitting right by the tennis courts, on the grass, and we all had boom boxes back then, the early versions of them.
Yeah.
And my buddy was from Roslyn, Long Island, David Blumenfeld. He said, actually, he didn't even, Thunder Road, he was playing the Born to Run album. Thunder Road was playing. And it just hit me. I was like, what is that? And he said, what do you mean, what is that? I said, what is that song? He goes, you don't know who that is? I'm like, no. And it made an impression on me that he looked at me like I was insane. Like, what kid from Queens or Long Island
Yeah.
doesn't know that that's Bruce Springsteen kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I just, not unlike my father, many years later, got mesmerized. I should actually include this as part of the story of the
I
song
was going
because
to
it's
say, this
true.
is something you should include in there.
It was Thunder
Your
Road.
discovery.
It was one of those, right away, the music and the lyric, just the song itself, just like I was like, I just listened to the whole thing while staring at the tennis courts. I remember where I was looking. I just was like sitting there in the grass and I heard the song and I just went on that whole cinematic journey that Bruce takes you on in that song.
Yeah, I like how he
And
describes it, Thunder Road, as an invitation, as he says. You know, it's the opening of an invitation.
well, I never heard that he said that, but what I say sometimes to people is Bruce, he's got two qualities that a lot of other artists don't have, even whether in music or anything else. Even if they're great and even if they're huge, Bruce's music always plays a movie in your head.
Yeah.
Always. There's pictures, there's scenes that come
Yeah.
to you. Um, and he has that gift of making you feel like he's singing about you to you.
Exactly. Hmm.
Uh, very, it's like, how did he know that's how I felt about this shit?
Yeah, yeah,
Or, and he captured I'm sitting there 12, right? He captured a feeling in that song that I didn't even know I had.
yeah.
I wouldn't even really realize what Bruce was singing about for like another 8 years or so.
Hmm.
But it was in there already. I was like, oh, that's what, like, you take the song She's the One. When I first heard it, I hoped someday to have a girlfriend that I felt that way about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then, you know, whatever it is now, 50 years later, uh, it's like an old friend, that song, but um, uh, it was just as true to my 12-year-old ears as it is to my, 61-year-old ears, that he just
Yeah.
is able to capture that feeling you have about someone that hits you like that. And
It's magic, is what it is. Yeah.
yeah, and it's obviously the music. It's not just, the poem he wrote.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an incredible gift of genius that just makes it feel so personal. But it was, yeah, the music itself, really.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't anything else. It wasn't the mystique. It wasn't, it made an impression on me that my buddy thought I was nuts for not knowing who this was.
Yeah.
Um, But he also, like, he introduced me to ELO that summer, that same dude, that
Another
New
great
World
band.
Record
Yeah.
album. And
Hmm.
I love ELO. Like, I became a big ELO fan, but
Yeah.
it's different. It's a
If you like
different.
coverage, you know who does a great version of Do Ya? Is Ace Frehley. You have to listen to Ace
Really?
Frehley. Yeah, it's on his 19, I think it's 89. The album's called Trouble Walking. And he does a great version of Do Ya. It's more rocked up, but it's Ace's singing and it's a really good version of that song.
Oh, I got to check that out. They were touring. I saw them last year at MSG. They still sounded absolutely great.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to that one. I didn't make it, but I will definitely make January 11th. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we can
I got another Zoom wait. Yeah, I got to run.
But anyway, it was great talking to you. January 11th, you get to see my buddy Hank Azaria at the Sony Hall.